Today, I'm actually hosting our very first Skype episode of the GSD show, and it's with Allison Maslan, CEO of Allison Maslan International, a global business mentoring company. I got to see Allison speak at Thrive and had to get her on the show. Allison has been named one of the top women entrepreneurs who inspire by Self-Made magazine and is a #1 best-selling author of Blast Off. Allison's built 10 successful companies starting out at the age of 19, and her client list has included Ben & Jerry's, Supercuts, Merrill Lynch, and Charlotte Russe. Although her passion is helping business owners grow a high-revenue business and a passionate life, she's been featured in Success, Fortune, and Forbes magazine. She is a regular contributor to Entrepreneur magazine and is a featured expert on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, and Fox across the US. And today, she's sharing her tips on being a successful entrepreneur with you.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, Allison? How are you?
I'm doing so great. Thanks, Mike. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm more excited than you because I heard about you first before I even got to attend Thrive. And I said, okay, I definitely got to see her talk. And Thrive was one of my favorite conferences I've been to. Actually, I'm probably going to say it was my favorite conference. The lineup was so cool. And then I got to see you speak, and you just delivered such an awesome, powerful talk. And I had to get you on here and see if you can share some of this with our listeners because you really know your stuff. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I had so much fun speaking at Thrive. That was a fantastic event.
It was great. So just for the listeners that maybe didn't grasp a lot of it in the intro they just heard about a minute or two ago, tell them a little bit about what you do and what people hire you for.
Absolutely. Well, my company's called Allison Maslan International, and we are a global business coaching agency. And myself and I have a team of coaches, business coaches, who all have run successful companies. And we work with business owners all over the country. We also have clients in Australia and Canada as well.
Wow.
And we really work with them to take their business to the next level. All different industries, all different sales models, doesn't matter. Just established business owners that are ready to grow.
Well, because for the most part, we kind of talked about this off camera, business is business, right? So if you go, there's obviously certain things that are a little bit more specific when you're running a fitness business versus a pizzeria, but there's a lot of core principles that are, no matter what, needed to be playing for any business, right?
Yes, in fact, we call it cross-industry innovation.
Okay.
And so our goal is that we actually bring business owners together from all different industries and sales models, because you can learn so much about your revenue streams, about marketing, sales, time management systems, which run across the board in every single business.
Right.
But you can learn new ways from other industries. For instance, you could learn customer service from someone that runs a chain of beauty salons, and you could apply that to a consumer's good manufacturing company.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, we just talked about some cool ideas to distribute content on Facebook, right? And you said, oh, I like that idea. That was an idea that came from somebody that doesn't really do fitness marketing, right? But I'm using it for my fitness marketing company. But the strategy of getting that content out there to get in front of your targeted audience, that works for me. How many companies have you helped build so far?
Well, I've built 10 companies myself.
Wow. From the ground up?
From the ground up.
Wow.
And I've been in business over 30 years, and I started a long time ago.
When you were one?
I came out of the womb as an entrepreneur. That's pretty much it. So business is my life. I live and breathe it.
Okay.
And I love it. It's truly my passion. And I feel that now I get to do my best work. I get to pay it forward to business owners of all industries and really help them take their business to the next level.
That's really cool. So you said you started 10 businesses from the ground up. Which one was your favorite?
Oh my gosh, that's a tough question because
They're all like, are they like your
well,
babies?
they are. And, when it came a point that I wasn't feeling that anymore for whatever reason, I knew it was time to move on. And so I've sold several of the companies. Some of them still exist today that I'm not running. I mean, I've worked with thousands and thousands of business owners
Right.
as well and helped them to multiply their revenue and really live a more freedom filled life because, as you know, business owners are driven. They can run themselves into the ground. They can work 24/7, and there's a much better way to do it.
It's funny. I've seen two different mindsets on selling the business. One of them, it's like my baby. I feel like I'm selling my kid. And then you see entrepreneurs that really understand business. They don't develop a romance to their business. It's more of business in general. They look at it like they're giving away their daughter to the perfect husband. And now it's like they still get to watch them grow, but they're somewhere else now. They're someone else's responsibility, and you're just happy that they're on to the next thing now.
Yeah, I think it's great when you are ready to move on to something new or a next chapter in your life and you see that your baby is well taken care of. But it is definitely quite a mental process that you have to go through to get to that point that you're ready to sell. And there's, a lot of second guessing feelings. Am I doing the right thing?
Right.
There's ego involved too. And there are many stories of business owners that actually go back in and buy their businesses back.
Yeah.
Because they can't handle it.
They
or
miss it.
they see the person's running it into the ground and it's killing them.
Yeah. I could see that. Okay, so you've heard this before. This isn't a secret to anybody out there. More small businesses fail than succeed. And you could probably point at a number of reasons as to why that happens. I think the most common one for coaches and consultants out there, speakers that I've seen, it starts with mindset and mindset issues. So would you agree to that? And if so, what are some of the biggest mindset issues you see that's holding people back?
Yes. And, I don't know that statistic is totally accurate because I feel that many people just quit.
Okay.
And, rather than fail. And
Right.
in their mind, they might have thought they failed, or they might just feel like, gosh, I've hit a wall and there's no way around this. So if you have the mindset when you're jumping into building a business that you're going to make it successful no matter what, and that's just the decision that you make, then it's always going to be successful. And that's how I've been able to build all these companies. Doesn't mean it was easy. Doesn't mean that I always had the answer in every solution. But when you make that decision, what it does do is it binds you to the commitment to find the answer. Right?
Right.
Because there are many people that I've talked to that said, yeah, I lost my business or I failed. And I listened to what happened, common scenarios. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, they could have done this, they could have done this. And I don't say that because I don't want to make them feel bad. But, it's just truly the mindset is underneath. It's the core of everything. Jeff Bezos owed over $1 billion with Amazon. And he was still jumping up and down and motivating his team to make it happen.
Wow.
So that takes
That's a whole different level of mindset.
Yeah, that's a whole other level, exactly. And so, in fact, I was just talking to a woman yesterday, and she's saying, I'm so in debt, and I'm just so struggling with this idea. I feel like I'm always carrying it around. And I said, well, how much do you owe? I'm thinking like it's just hundreds of thousands of dollars, and she said $20,000. And I said, well, just to give you some perspective, when you're building a business, that's not very much,
right?
Because you really need to invest in yourself and not see that as debt. See that you are your number one asset. So you've got to invest in you.
Right. No, I 100% believe in that. And I have coaches, my coaches have coaches, and, the people I coach are coaches. So it's important. And I think the coaching consulting world has become so popular recently because of that, because people are starting to realize, hey, if I want to take my business to the next level, I got to hear somebody else's perspective that's really gone through that struggle, or has worked with people that have gone through that struggle and found a solution for it. One of the things you said that I really liked was, you have to have that mentality where I'm going to succeed no matter what. And I think that's really important. One of my favorite books, I don't know if you read it, was Good to Great. And
Yes.
I think the first line of the book is probably all you have to read to get it, but the whole book was great. But it was good is the enemy of great. As long as you're good, there's no real need to be great because you're good. You have nothing to lose. And so what I've noticed is a lot of entrepreneurs will start a business while already still having their initial stream of income, whether it's working at another place or having a side freelance thing or whatever going. And so they don't necessarily have to succeed. Now, there's some people that are crazy competitive that no matter what, they have to win just because that's their mentality. But do you think there's people out there that because there's a safety net, it's hard for them to really get that mentality to stay consistently all day, every day?
I agree with you 100%, Mike, on that. And there's, quite a few ways that we can look at that, but they call it the golden handcuffs, right? Because you're used to getting that set paycheck, let's say, and so there's security in that. Although I always say the best security is running a business because you're not going to fire yourself, right? You always know it's up to you. But truly, it is, because if you have a cushion or a safety net, what is really the impetus for you to go out and make it happen?
Right.
For me, I was a single mom. I had absolutely no support. And I couldn't hold a job for more than 2 weeks. I was really bad at people telling me what to do. And I had people telling me I was going to fail, and who did I think I was? So that made me dig my heels into the ground more, like I'll show you kind of thing.
Right.
It's not the healthiest thing to really scale a business, but it was great in the beginning.
Right.
To ignite that stubbornness in me. So I'm grateful for being broke. I'm grateful for feeling like I had no other options. I'm grateful for not having the safety net, because, man, when you've got your rent to make, you'll get out there and sell.
Right.
Like nobody's business.
So I'm dropping books here, but Lewis Howes, I read his book after his talk. I got his book and I read through it, and he says a line, what gets in the way is the way, which I thought was really great. The thing that you think is what's going to ruin you is usually the thing that propels you and gives you a reason. And The Power of Broke by Damon John, which is, because I've been there too. These guys know, the guys that work here, they know my story. And this episode isn't about me, it's about you. But similar thing, right? Where my back was against the wall and had to figure it out. And I think when that happens, it's kind of like that story where the mother saved the baby by lifting the car. Did you ever hear that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, Google that. It's this awesome story. It's very famous, and it's a true story happened. This woman, regular woman, like you, right? She's not like this huge buff steroid girl. Her baby got trapped under a car, and she literally lifted the bumper up enough for the baby to get out, right? This is a car.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Let me tell you a quick car story, because this is actually the opening of my book, Blast Off.
Okay.
But so my first business, there's quite a story to it, but by the time I was 25, I built a full service advertising and PR firm. Okay. And we had big clients like Ben & Jerry's, Supercuts, Charlotte Russe.
Wow.
And I was making a lot of money, traveling all over the country. But I didn't understand how to scale a business. I didn't understand the foundations of a business and delegating and all of that. And I was a wreck. Mm-hmm. I was an absolute wreck. I was making money, but I was falling apart. I was miserable.
Right.
And so one day it was like 4 p.m, and I hadn't slept all night. And I realized that I had forgotten to pick up my daughter from daycare, like the worst thing as a mom. And so I raced to get her, and as I'm getting out of the car, I'm not thinking, I'm not paying attention because I was so stressed. And all of a sudden the car is running down the driveway, and so I jump into the car to try to stop it. and it pulled me under the car and literally ran over me. And I mean, you've heard stories like this. People have actually gotten killed, and my legs did not break. I mean, it was such a miracle. And, you know, for me, that was a huge wake-up call. I mean, if you don't wake up after a car runs over you, I don't really know what's going to wake you up. But I really felt like that was the universe saying, hey, you know, this is life is too short, and you need to find a better way to make it happen.
So I heard that story at Thrive, and I remember I that's the moment where I was like, she's getting on the show. Period. It's such a great story, and there was actually more. There's a longer version which we got to hear of how you got there and all that, but a crazy story. And I just want to know, you've had a trainer for 20 years. Did you thank him for building up your quads so that you didn't break your legs?
Yeah, I did. And, you know, I will say I'm somewhat of a klutz too. So some of my friends were like, you know, if someone's going to do this, Allison's the one to do it.
She's going to run over herself. That's the one.
But I feel like I'm very blessed. And that happened. And I'll, you know, just as you were talking about this woman, it's amazing the strength that you have.
The capabilities.
And for business owners, we worry. What if this happens? What if that happens? Mm-hmm. And it takes up so much of our headspace. But the truth is, in the moment, when you have a crisis, you know what to do.
Right. Yep.
You have to trust in that.
And for the listeners and viewers, I don't know if you guys ever heard of TED.com, but TED.com is an awesome site that has kind of like modern day philosophers, I guess I would call it, on their theories on certain things in life. You've heard of TED, right? TED Talks? Mm-hmm. And there was this one TED Talk, and it was talking about that. And it was basically saying how, they took a group of 100 students and another group of 100 students. They gave them the same project to do, which was a big project. They gave this group 30 days to do it, and they told this group they had a day to do it. And this group here was fine. Nobody said anything was fine. This group here had parents calling in. There was like chaos. People were complaining. Kids were freaking out. At the end of it all, this group actually had less people finish the project than this group did. And this group, the group that only had a day, actually performed higher than this group, than the group that had a whole month to do it. And it was interesting to me because, you know, when you have a month, you're lackadaisical about the whole thing. And, you know, maybe your concept changes too many times because you have that availability. But when you have a day, I know me, I was a wait till the last minute guy. That was me all through high school. And when that happened, everything was off for me. You know, there was no phone call that can get to me. I can't right now. You know, that's the way my mentality was because I had to get this project done. And I had such laser focus that I was able to do it really, really well. And I think the same thing with business. A lot of people will set goals, but they won't put a goal date. And if they do, it's too realistic. It's too believable and achievable. And they don't push themselves enough. But they can accomplish the same goal in probably a half the time if they put themselves under that gun. Right? Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, truly. In fact, it kind of ties in where I will tell people that want to start speaking. So one of the things we help our clients do is to get on stages because it's a great way to promote your business, whatever industry you're in. And the first thing they'll say is, well, I've got to write my speech, and then I need to practice my speech, and then I have to figure out who I want to talk to. You know, that they're talking like a year. And I'm like, no, I want you to get on the phone right now, and I want you to book 6 talks.
Right.
Don't even forget about what the talk is. Make up a title.
But like your life depends on it. Like your life depends on it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, will get those speeches done. You know, when you have an audience and they're waiting for you, you will get it done. Or, you know, do a pre-sale for a product that you haven't even created yet. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you obviously need to know that you can. But otherwise, yeah, you're exactly right. People procrastinate. Right. It's human nature.
So the idea is set a goal that's, some people call it a BHAG, some people call it a WIG, but a BHAG is a big, hairy, audacious goal. Just set a goal that's really big, that's almost unbelievable for you to achieve, and then set a goal date, right? And then your life depends on it. I create scenarios in my head. Like if this doesn't work, I'm done. I'm broke, life's over, I'm going to jail, whatever. and you work at such a different level when that happens. And I think that's why the
All
power
or
of growth.
nothing.
All or nothing, right?
All or nothing. Yep.
And tell people, like a
Yeah.
lot of people are afraid to tell people their goals because if they fail, they kind of look like failures. But man, what a way to hold yourself accountable, when you tell people that you're going to be seeing often what you're looking to do and by when. And because they're going to keep asking
Yeah.
you.
Well, you're setting an intention too, and I'm a big believer in law of attraction. I've always lived that way from early on, and in fact, that's how I met my husband too. I even set the date that I would meet him, and I told all my friends the date I would be meeting him. Of course, I had never met this guy ever, and I know this isn't a relationship show, but I ended up meeting him. He came a week early. I said August 12th and met him on August 4th.
Isn't it crazy?
And we've been married 10 years.
I'm a big believer on the law of attraction. I think it's amazing. Sam just read, our video guy just read The Secret, so he's involved now. But, the cool thing is it works in tiny little segments, and it also works on huge things. It just works. So use it for everything. But remember we went to California, Sam? We went to California, and we went to Manhattan Beach. We were there for the IDEA conference. And so it was like 5 of us. We were looking for a parking space. Impossible to find a parking space. We were there for 20 minutes. Couldn't find anything, up and down. And then somebody in the car, I think it was Molly, said, "You know what? I don't think we're going to find a spot." And I said, "We're going to find a spot by 9:02. That was 5 minutes from now. And they're just like, "No way." And I'm like, "It's going to be right there." And 9 o'clock came, 9:01. They're doubting me. As soon as 9:02 clicked, parking space opening up, the guy right in front of us. And
That's called parking karma,
right? So
my husband and I are we always go parking karma, and one pops up, so you have to believe it.
Now I write my goals down. I have my big goals. I write them down every morning and at night before I go to bed. What do you think about writing do you write your goals down?
Oh yeah, I do it on all levels of the company. I look at where we want to be revenue wise. I look at where we want to be profit wise, because it's not just how much revenue if you don't have anything left at the end of the day.
Well, you said it yourself, right? People could hit 1 million and be broke still, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you really need to look at your margins, your overhead, all that kind of stuff. And then I look at the different projects and accomplishments that I want to achieve, and I lay all of that out. And it's so much fun to look at the end of the year and say, wow, look at all that I've accomplished. And I think business owners are so hard on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're always looking at what they didn't do, and it's not enough. And instead of really taking it in, like what was the biggest achievement that you had all year long, and what was your biggest lesson?
Right.
What was the best news that you received all year long?
Right.
Who were the 5 people that you enjoyed spending most of your time with? All of those things that you can truly embrace the amazing things that you are accomplishing, and then look at, okay, what's the next level?
It is important because, like you said, we are hard on ourselves. I was guilty of it, where I remember when I was broke, I was like, man, if I could only make $3,000 a month, and I had a wife and a kid, I was like, man, I'd be good right now. It was like the worst time of the economy. And then I just blew past that. And now I'm already thinking about this, and I just kept going up, and I never took time. And actually, it was when I sat down with a buddy of mine, and he was like, you're being too hard on yourself. I was like, what are you talking about? He said, what was your initial goal when you first started this thing? And I told him. He's like, dude, you killed that already. You hit that goal. Did you even celebrate? And I was like, no. And, that was a big talk for me. And since then, we actually, every week, we do a meeting here, and every person on our team gives a win for the week. Like, what was a big win for them? And then we have somebody on the team actually do like a slideshow, and on the big TV out there, every 5 seconds it rotates each person's biggest win for that current week. So we kind of keep seeing it, which is really great. And we do our 2-year retreat, which actually is Friday. And Friday and Saturday we're going for our 2-day retreat. And we're basically for 2 days just talking about our accomplishments, all the things we've achieved, and now what's next. Now that we know we can do that, what else can we do?
Yeah.
So I love that.
That it's so important, and it's really important for your teams to feel a sense of accomplishment, because sometimes they might say something that they felt was a big win, and you didn't recognize it, or
Right.
you didn't realize that that was such a big deal
To them
And
especially.
so
Yeah.
that is just such a big deal. So
Right.
you appreciate that so much. Obviously, we're always looking at the bottom line, but there's so many other components to it.
Do you think a lot of small business owners in particular, my thoughts on this, and you could tell me yours, my thoughts are they don't focus enough on learning how to be a good salesperson, and they don't focus enough on leadership and how to really understand how to talk to people, how to attract better people, and how to keep them happy. Those are my two. Is there another factor, or do you even agree with the first two?
Well, I definitely agree with that, and I can give you my 2 cents. I also think making that shift from entrepreneur to enterprise, it's kind of like you're growing or you want to grow, but you're still wearing the clothes that you were fitting when you were smaller,
Right.
and you're like splitting at the seams and learning how to mentally make that transition.
Mm-hmm.
One of our clients has tripled their business in this last year from 800,000 to 2.5 million in 1 year. That's a lot of growth.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, can I handle this? And really need to look at their business in a whole new way. They have to stop working, on it and working in it and start to work on it. But those things that you said, absolutely. So sales, I would say, is number one.
Yeah, good. Okay, good.
Mistake.
Very good. There's a lot of people that don't agree with that. I think
Yeah.
sales is the most important thing to get great at. And, there's so many people that struggle and they'll blame the marketing sometimes, or they'll blame their PR or their team. And I'll ask them, what's the last few sales books that you read? And they don't have not even one that they can, they take it as either you got it or you don't. Right?
Yeah, no, it is the number one thing. And I think you get in business and you get caught up in all of this stuff that you have to do and your website and your online marketing and all that. But you could be drawing it in, but if you're not closing the sale, all that is a complete waste. You might as well write a check and throw it down the
Right.
the drain. I've had many clients, and when they first came to me, I don't like sales, or and I'm still a big believer of picking up the phone,
Right.
and because I've gotten some huge clients from that, just picking up the phone, and I have some funny stories around that. But now they love it because they see. I mean, one of my clients just signed a $250,000 contract that started from picking up the phone and introducing themselves. So
Right.
you really have to learn to get over that. And this is what I believe about sales. And I know that you feel this way. And one of the reasons you like sales, Mike, is because you're so passionate about what you do. And you know that you have an amazing product and service, right?
Right.
So I tell my clients, if you truly feel that you have the best product and service, why wouldn't you want to get it into everybody's hands that needs it?
I'm so glad you said this. Sam, what episode was the sales episode? 34. Okay, I'm liking you a lot more and more and more every minute that we talk, because you're like the best right now. So yeah, I think the same thing. I think a lot of people provide a really great service, especially in the small business space, because they're so passionate and they're always thinking customers first, customer first. You'll have massage therapists thinking the solution is to get more certifications, right? If I do hot stone and if I do this, if I do that, then everybody will want me. And they get so great at the service, but then they're humble in the sales process, or they're timid in the sales process. They don't present with confidence. And the reason is because they don't want to be salesy. But the problem is, like I tell them, like you just said, you actually literally say what I say all the time, which is, hey, look, you have a great product or service. You can help this person. And you know that if they don't work with you in 6 months, they're going to be worse. Why are you doing this to them? Use everything you've learned to present this in the best way possible so that they can now, 6 months from now, thank you. And if you don't believe they're going to thank you, then don't sign them up. But if you know they're going to thank you when this is all over, do everything, get them on board, just like you do with your kids. With your kids, you do everything you can to convince them to do what you know is best for them, because they're going to thank you for it later, they're going to be better off for it. But when we're doing sales, no, I don't want to be that way.
Yeah, no, it's true. And somebody else is going to get their business. So why not be you?
Exactly.
And right. So it's just, I think it has a lot to do with self-worth and knowing our own value, and not, moving past the fear to ask for that. I think a lot
Projecting
of business
too.
owners make the decision already in their mind, oh, they can't afford it. Oh, they're going to feel I'm pushing them. And that's not true.
Yeah.
You're projecting that on them, but that's not really what's happening.
Right. And yeah, there's a lot of projecting that happens. Does he think, am I coming off too strong and am I being too aggressive? And I think projecting is one of the things that holds back not just salespeople, but a lot of people in the world with a lot of things. It's better to be unassumptive and just kind of just do what you do best. And just, I see people working harder on selling why their sports team's better than another sports team than they do on why their product is so amazing, can help you.
Right.
I was literally at a barbecue and this guy is forever talking about how great the Cowboys are and bringing up all these great points with such passion. Yet 20 minutes later, when we were talking about things, he's like, oh man, I hate sales. I'm not a sales guy. You totally were. You have 20 minutes selling over there on how great the Cowboys were, so.
It's just really sharing your passion.
Right.
If you have an issue with the word sales, just shift that to that you're sharing your passion.
Right. Now, the fitness studios that we work with, what all of them need to do in order to be successful is they need to scale their business. Sometimes that means expanding into a bigger location, or it means getting a second or a third location, because you eventually get capped at a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot space. And then the only way to continue making more is to do one of those two things. So that being said, I think a lot of them may be a little unprepared for what happens at that next level, right? Because running your business when it falls between 100,000 and 500,000 or 500,000, 100 or and a million is very different. You're in growth mode, not a lot of protection. But what happens once you hit that million mark? What changes?
Right. So, once you get past that million mark, that means that you probably have a lot more clients that you need to be taking care of. There are a lot more procedures that need to happen within the company. You have to start putting systems in place.
Okay.
So, for instance, systems on how to onboard your clients, how to keep your clients coming back, getting repeat business. So these are things that you have to step back from your company and really think about and put these systems together, because if you don't and you start growing past that 7-figure level, all these things are going to start slipping through the cracks.
Right.
And that's why sometimes we say grow too fast and can implode, because and it happens a lot, and you think, wow, that company's really taking off, and then you find that they're filing chapter 7 or 11 because they don't have all of the logistics and systems in place. So that's super important. Right. And also it's making that shift to being a leader, like what you were saying before. And I remember for me, I had an aha moment. I remember being in my office, another business I was running, and I had all these employees, and I had this moment where I thought, I have no idea what they're doing, and they have no idea what I'm doing. I mean, we might as well be completely different companies. And I know they were like, we don't know where Allison is today, because in my mind, I was still running it as a solo entrepreneur. I wake up each day, I knew what I had to do, I knew what I had to get done, but I wasn't looking at the company as a whole. Mm-hmm. And so what you want to do when you become a leader, and business owners generally are leaders, but it's not like we have to really learn how to embrace that, and to be able to become the cheerleader of your company and get people excited about what you're doing and excited about the vision, so that then they can get behind it. They can help move this engine forward without you driving and pushing.
Right.
That changes everything.
You brought up so many good points there. So for everybody that's listening and watching, just to kind of share where you can learn how to do more of these things. You heard Allison talk about the importance of systems, and and she also earlier you talked about working on the business versus in the business. A really great book for that is E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Also, Selling with Passion, really understanding your why. Starts with Why by Simon Sinek is really great for that. And then leadership. One of the things that you talked about too is really being a great leader, which I believe is also developing leaders within your team. And a great book called Multipliers is another great book. And you have a book that is apparently right now is like this awesome resource for these business owners. So let's talk about your book. What's the overall objective of the book? What are you looking to accomplish with it?
Well, the book is called Blast Off: The Surefire Success Plan to Launch Your Dreams into Reality.
Okay.
And what I love about this book, and I put my heart and soul into it, is I give lots of examples of business owners really moving past their obstacles, getting clear on their vision and their passion, and how they break through. And then I have it's a complete system in that book to build your company, but also to create a balanced and fulfilling life. I've been a homeopathic physician for 20 years, and
Wow.
And so I'm a big believer of looking, having business as part of the whole picture, right? I mean, we're not parts of a car.
Right.
Everything we do affects everything else. Our relationship affects our emotions, which affects our business.
If you're having a bad day at home, you're going to feel bad at the office, bad day
it
at
runs
work.
all the way through.
Yeah.
So each chapter focuses on creating success in every area of your life.
Okay, so this is actually pretty cool because I love examples books because it helps me. So sometimes when I read a book and there aren't examples, it's hard for me to really look at the parallels in my business sometimes. And there's a couple books that I've read that were really great where they do share examples like, hey, this is one of the things that you can focus on to improve this. Here's an example of how this company did it. And when I see that, I can kind of see the wheels turn a little bit and I can do it in my way. So I'm happy you wrote it that way. My two favorite styles of books are books with examples or stories, like the E-Myth or like, The Alchemist. Those are my two favorite styles of books. So awesome. Is this book, like, can I get it already or no?
Oh, yeah. It's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and on all of those.
Okay, cool.
Stores.
Sam, can we put a picture of the book on the screen and then a link to the book? And then can you order me a book, please? Okay. All right, cool. So we'll definitely get that. I'm a big time reader. I love reading. And so you just gave me another project. So thanks. One last thing I want to ask you, because obviously you've dealt with work, you've been an entrepreneur 10 times over, and you're still an entrepreneur, and you work with them all the time, and you get to learn them. What do you think are the most common mistakes that entrepreneurs make that prevent them from hitting success?
Well, number one, we've touched on it, is they don't sell.
Okay.
I think that business owners get caught up in all of the bells and whistles, the product development and so forth. But, Starbucks, for instance, is creating new products all the time, and you don't go there and see a sign that says, sorry, we're closed, we're in product development. You have to be open for business every day.
Right.
So that's the first thing, is you got to bring cash flow in every single day in your business. The second thing is I think business owners think way too small. I think they play it way too safe, and that business owners are the bottleneck to their business. They're trying to control everything, meaning that maybe they're afraid to delegate because they don't want the person to make mistakes, or they're just a control freak in general, which we've all been, right? So you have to learn to let go. I mean, if you're really going to grow, you have to learn to let go, which makes people feel uncomfortable. And then the next piece, I actually have two. One is that to really have the big breakthroughs, you have to be willing to push yourself to the edge of the most uncomfortable place that you have probably ever been, like where you're pretty terrified, because that's where the breakthrough happens.
Okay.
I know for myself, when I was decided to lead a big event, and we have our big event coming up, which is called Blast Off, but this is our 6th year. So the very first year, when I knew I had to fill that auditorium, and I had well over $100,000 bill looming over me, and I was like 2 months out, and we had 20 people signed up, I had a complete meltdown, panic, tears. My husband going, "You're never doing this again. Why are you putting yourself through this?" And I tried to cancel, but the hotel was going to charge me $20,000. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. And we ended up filling the ballroom again, back against the wall. Amazing what you can do. And it was the most incredible experience I had ever had. And my husband's, he loves me dearly, right? He was just concerned of the stress I was under.
We'll tag him in the video so you can see this.
Yeah. So the second day of the event, He comes up to me with tears in his eyes, and he said, "Now I understand why you do this work and why you work so hard." Because he saw all the transformations happening, and he saw how I really lit up on stage because I am so excited to share this work.
You are on, some people have a presence, which is, it's really exciting when you see that. You see a person walk into a room and you're like, that person's got a presence. When you got up on stage, you definitely had that presence, and you had my full attention just from the way you walked out, and you were just super, super confident. And then your delivery, your storytelling was just fantastic. You did a great job.
Well, thank you. But the story, we learn through story. Mm-hmm. And that's what we remember. If we're just reading information, we might remember 2% of that. But a story, that will stick with us. And then the last thing that I wanted to say, because you said, what holds you back? I think the difference that separates people that are super successful and those that struggle, the ones that are really successful, when they get knocked down, the time between the time they get knocked down to when they get up again is a very, very small window. The others struggle with it, regret, they beat themselves up.
And the longer you go,
much longer to get back in the saddle.
And the longer you go, the more likely you're not going to do it.
Right.
Grant Cardone talks a lot about, he was actually one of the speakers as well, but he talks a lot about fear and time. And, fear is already a strong emotion, but the more time you add to that fear, the more unlikely you are to do it. So, for example, if you're intimidated to buy a house, the best time to buy that house is right there, because the longer you go, the more you think about all the things that can go wrong. And the next thing you know, you just don't get the house. You settle for something smaller that you don't want or whatever it is. And I think the same thing goes for a business. Like you said, if you fall down, it's a terrifying thing to get back out there and do it again. And you have to face that, that wonder if other people are waiting for you to fail again, and that embarrassment that you think might be happening. And but the longer you go, the more time you give it, the more things you think about as far as why getting back on that saddle is the wrong thing to do, and all the things that can go bad from it. So I think that's 100% right, for sure. Okay, cool. Well, hey, Allison, I got to let you know, this was one of my favorite episodes. You talk a lot, we have guests on the show that are great, and sometimes they talk about stuff that's really interesting to me, but all the stuff that you were talking about is so interesting to me, like every single point. And I really hope the listeners and the readers got a lot of value out of it. You said you have a show as well, correct?
Yes.
What's your show?
So it's called Allie and You, the Business Success and Lifestyle.
Okay.
And we've been running it since about 2011. We have a lot of the episodes right on my website, which is AllisonMaslan.com.
Okay, Sam, you'll put that on the screen? Okay.
And we run the show every Wednesday at 4 Pacific time. And you'll either see it right on my Facebook page. We stream it there, and then we also stream it at allieandyou.com, ALLIE and you.
Okay, awesome. And just so I know, it's a podcast. It's on iTunes, Stitcher as well, or where are all the places?
On all those. It's a video podcast. As well? We have a full production studio here at my office.
So kind of like us, you have a section on YouTube, and on your site you can watch them, and then you have on iTunes for the ripped audio.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, see, we're more and more alike than I thought. Every time I talk to her,
are.
the more minutes I go.
How did we just now meet? How'd that happen?
I don't know. I feel like I go back and check in my life, see if I got run over or something by myself. I feel like that probably happened.
Well, I think you'd remember if that happened.
I know, unless it was so bad I lost all conscience. Yeah, so, hey, thank you so much. You're awesome, and I can't wait to see you. Hopefully I'll be able to stop by while I'm in California for your event. I know it's a full event with Nick's stuff, but your event I'm so excited to see. And if not, I catch next one, absolutely. And keep doing great things. Your website is awesome. So many great resources on there. Your blog's great. All of you guys that want to learn how to be better entrepreneurs and business owners, don't miss out on the opportunity to get all this content. She gives away a ton of free content through all these things. And her book looks like it's going to be awesome. Mine's already ordered. Allison, thanks again. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Mike. This was a lot of fun.
All right. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.